And the growth of a nonprofit will always depend on the leader. So if a leader is just surviving and just trying to make ends meet and just trying to bring in a dime or two because of, let's say, the organization's programs and really not thinking about their role as a leader, it becomes very difficult. And I want to be realistic with you here. Your nonprofit may not be able to grow, not because of the economy, not because of lack of funding, or because people don't care. It's staying small because you're playing small. And I know it's not going to resonate with a lot of people when I say this, but you have to come to terms that a lot of what we are seeing now is people like to stay in groups and commiserate. And as a leader, you need to think outside of the box and think for you, like your betterment and the betterment of your organization. So it might be a hard pill to swallow for so many people, but it's the reality. Oftentimes, when we see like things are dire, like right now, the people that are able to focus on how they are leading, right? Because leadership is not just a word, it's the way you act, it's the way you think, right? Your behavior, your emotion, your ability to be stoic. So, all of these will matter if you are trying to grow your nonprofit organization, right? So, if you want your nonprofit organization to grow and secure like the seven figure funding, attracting major funders and stuff like that, and become the industry leaders, you have to be able to have a leader who really embodies qualities that can take your nonprofit in that direction, right? So those leaders, if you are a leader and you don't think, well, if you are considering yourself a leader, you don't think and act bigger, your nonprofit will stay just where it is, right? You're not going to be able to grow or expand the way you are hoping to because you are limiting not only yourself, but your nonprofit organization. Okay, because then if you're a leader, then why are you waiting for permission to determine what's needed in your organization? Because you shouldn't just hope things will work out. You have to be able to execute bold moves and create opportunities. Like you are not doing things in a silo, granted, right? Because you have a leadership team, you have a team that you need to take things back to, but you need to be able to make a case for what you think is necessary and understand what's needed and present that in a way to the board that you know what needs to be done. This is what we need to do. How can we get there? Because then you have to be able to stand on business about the things that are important for the nonprofit to move forward. And if you're not able to assert your leadership skills or even authority as a leader of the nonprofit, then what happens is nobody's going to listen to you. You need to be able to execute bold moves, create opportunities for your team, for your leadership, for other people in your leadership and your governing board, right? So everybody can understand they're not operating in fear, they're operating with confidence and intention and strategically. So we're going to talk a little bit about what it looks like to step into your leadership role, stop playing small, and start running your nonprofit as an organization that deserves what you say it deserves. Okay. And if you're catching live again, hashtag live, because then the algorithm does wonderful things when people comment. That's just Facebook for you. Now, we're going to talk about like how your nonprofit will be able to grow as big as you do, right? So you can't be waiting for a magical moment where things get easier and more funders just appear, or money is going to flow effortlessly into your nonprofit, because what happens when you're waiting for this to happen, you're already in a situation where you're losing, right? Because then let's always look at the facts here. About 85% of nonprofit failures happen because of leadership gaps, right? Not funding shortages. where they have leaders who are not taking decisive action, who are not taking action at all, right? There are organizations that actively develop their leadership and they're able to grow a little bit faster than those that don't. Because then remember, I talk about capacity building. That's one of the areas of capacity building is developing skills of your team and also leadership development. If only 27% of nonprofit leaders feel confident in their ability to create sustainable funding strategies, like imagine like what's happening with the rest of y'all. Because then Nonprofit Quarterly is that's what it reported. Only 27% of nonprofit leaders actually feel confident in their ability to create sustainable funding strategy, right? So if only 27% of leaders actually feel confident and the rest of the 73% are not, can you imagine the number of nonprofit organizations that have leaders or governing bodies that are not doing the work that they need to do because they're not feeling confident in their ability to do so? Now, that's an issue, and that's why I say in terms of capacity building, you need to focus on building the skills and knowledge of your team, your governing body to ensure that the nonprofit is able to thrive or succeed in what it does. Now, the other thing that this tells you is that your growth as a leader will determine whether your organization will grow. Because then, if you're the leader of your organization and you're operating from fear, you're afraid to raise prices, you're afraid to charge for services, you're hesitant to make some strategic decisions, and you're avoiding visibility, what's happening is you're keeping the nonprofit small and from making a bigger impact in the community that you're serving. Okay, so I want you to stop waiting for permission instead of owning your nonprofit success. What I mean by that, as a leader, you can't wait for funders to believe in your nonprofit before you decide to expand because you need to embody that truth. You need to understand that your organization is doing good work. You need to validate yourself as a leader and validate the work the nonprofit is doing instead of looking at others or waiting for other nonprofits or other leaders to validate the work that you're doing to understand that you're already doing a great job, right? You can't be waiting for a better time to take action. Oh, this is not the good time. This is not the right time for us to do this. Thank you, Naveed. This is not the right time for us to make this decision because we don't have it right now. When's the best time? Okay, those are things that I want you to consider because the perfect time is never going to come. You need to create it. You need to create that perfect time because if you do not create it, it's not going to come. Okay. Now, if your nonprofit wants to win and wants to do a great job, you cannot wait for permission. You need to get to work. You need to make bold and the like strategic moves and own the success of your nonprofit. You need to be unapologetic about it. Okay. Now, there was a client of mine, they were waiting for about 2 years to apply for larger grants because this particular client, she thought her nonprofit was not ready. Okay. And one thing that happens after we work together, we were able to work on a monthly donor program that was able to bring in 7K in the first 90 days, right? And she was able to secure her first six-figure grant. And that was amazing. And also corporate sponsorship deals by pitching with confidence. Because oftentimes it's all about the confidence. So you need to stop hoping as a leader and get to work, right? Start creating opportunities for sponsors and funders to actually say yes. Because if you're just sitting and just looking and hoping that it's going to happen, it's never going to happen. Okay. You need to lead in boldly and make those decisions. And the next thing I want you to stop doing, I want you to stop playing it safe, right? And I talked about that in the last few minutes. You have to start making bold moves and strategic moves because if you don't do that, nothing's gonna happen because then you can't get major results from playing it safe. You're not going to attract major funding by playing it safe, right? You're not going to attract sponsors by sitting in the background and just hoping someone finds you and just offers like 10K or 100K to you. It just doesn't make sense, okay? You need to start making the moves that are going to make people take you seriously. Because if you're not making these bold and strategic moves, nobody's going to do it for you. As a leader, you're supposed to like accept that your role within your organization is to take decisive action and help build a nonprofit organization, right? So you need to invest in visibility. Hey, Naveen, you need to invest in visibility. You need to invest in partnerships and earn revenue models. And also, so you can experience the level of financial stability that you're looking for. Because you can't solely depend on grants. You need to invest in these things because those are going to bring you results on the back end that you may not have right now. Okay. So what does that mean for you when you stop doing that? When you invest in these things, you stop being invisible and people actually start seeing the work that you do, right? You start speaking at events, you start posting online consistently, you start engaging with funders, you start engaging with community members. All these things are things that are going to help you build a stronger foundation and a stronger organization, right? What else it means? It means that you need to start building corporate relationships and stop being afraid to ask businesses for money. Start building relationships with different businesses that attend outreach events or that are doing philanthropic work or that have corporate social responsibility programs. Like if you have a local grocery store and you've never spoken to the managers, that's on you because then you need to start speaking to these managers and finding out, hey, how does XYZ, let's say you have a Sprouts or Costco or Safeway in your area, how does XYZ help nonprofits? Like I would love to have a conversation with you to kind of talk more about the work that we do and how your store is helping this community and see if they have time to meet with you because if it's your local store, you've been going there for years, chances are they'll want to talk to you, especially if you talk to everybody in there because then I kid you not, I have a Safeway I've been frequenting for almost 8 years. I know the people that have been working there. I found out one of the cashiers recently retired and I saw him the other day. I'm like, what happened? He's like, Stacy, I retired. I'm like, oh gosh, like it's learning people's names, it's building relationships. So when you have an ask, they don't have that resistance and they trust you better, right? And what else it means for you when you start stepping into your leadership, you start making decisions that allow you to stop relying only on donations and grants, and you can start building revenue streams that are able to sustain your nonprofit, okay? So I want you as a leader to stop being afraid to charge for services because you're thinking nonprofits should make money. What can you charge for? Because the nonprofit is a business, right? What can you charge for? Because you need to diversify your revenue streams and you need to have a revenue model that's going to make sure that you have financial stability. So think about these things, and I want you to shift your mindset and build a revenue plan. An example of a revenue plan can be like you launching a paid community membership that's generating thousands of dollars per year. There are different things that you can add to your revenue plan. You can partner with corporation that can fully fund some of your programs. So let's say you don't want people to pay for a certain program, you can find a sponsor to pay for these people to join this program, right? So everything has to be funded. You have to have a revenue plan. And another way is to build a revenue model because then you need to have a plan and start thinking of ways that you can generate revenue for your nonprofit. So you're not waiting for a grant to save the nonprofit. And I want you to stop staying around small-minded people. I told somebody that yesterday, you need to stop staying around small-minded people instead of growth-minded leaders. Because if the people around you think small, play small, and operate in fear, you will too. Because all you will do is start questioning everything that you're doing. Because I'll give you an example is if I have to make a business decision, I know one person I will not go to about the business decision is my mom. I love you, mom, but I will not go to her because she will start thinking about all the risk instead of what could go right and what I need to do instead of focusing because I already know, like, if I'm making a business decision, like the results are already guaranteed because I know I'm going to do the work. It's just a matter of how consistent I am and how I apply myself. But some people don't think like that. They will start questioning your decisions. You will start doubting yourself and you will start operating in fear because the people closest to you are telling you something that they don't believe in. So you need to stop hanging around small-minded people. Okay? Once you start doing that, that's when you'll see that the way you act and the decisions you make are different because you cannot build $1 million nonprofit organization that's making great impact in the community if you're surrounded by people who don't believe it's possible or people that are just saying that a nonprofit should make money. You have to remove yourself from certain circles to understand that your role as a leader is is what is what it is. Because then if you have a vision in your head or your organization has a vision for itself, like everybody in the team wrote down a vision, right? And you have to make certain moves, but you're staying around folks that are saying, oh, we can't do that. We've never been able to do that. You'll never be able to do it. You need to leave that circle ASAP. You need to leave that circle because if you're around people that are going to tell you that you can't do something, you need to find a different circles because you need to actively engage growth-minded people, growth-focused coaches, and mastermind groups that are going to help you scale your organization 5 times faster than those who don't. Now, a lot of folks think coaches are just for business owners. No, leadership coaches, right? You need different types of support through your journey because you're going to have to think differently based on the level that you're at. You can't try to go to level 10, but you're at level 5 and hanging around people that are level 5. It just can't happen. Okay, so you need to, if you're stuck in the same level for years, your board isn't supportive, your network is full of people who think small, and you're doubting yourself, you need to get yourself out of that environment and go into a growth focused environment and start surrounding yourself with leaders who think bigger because everything will change. You're going to be able to make decisions that enable you to increase the revenue of your nonprofit. You're going to be able to secure more grants, more funding, and make more of an impact because you're going to be surrounded by people who think different. Okay? So your environment matters, and who you learn from and who you surround yourself with matters. Okay? So one thing I'm going to say, if you need to be in a space with leaders who think bigger and you would like to get leadership coaching for your team, definitely DM me the word leadership and we'll talk a little bit more about how Savage Coaching and Consulting can help your organization with that. Because most nonprofits don't stay small because of lack of funding. Okay, it's the leaders who think small and operate small. So I need you to start taking bold and strategic action, position yourself for major funding, and surround yourself with growth-minded people. Okay, and I want you to start asking yourself some questions like, are you actually leading or are you surviving? And definitely remember that the growth of your nonprofit depends on you. If you are not growing as a leader, the nonprofit is going to struggle. Okay, it's going to have a hard time growing itself. So definitely send me a DM with the word leadership if you want to explore leadership coaching for your team, your leadership team, and ensure everybody is on the right track or doing things that are helping the nonprofit with its growth. And let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and I hope to see you tomorrow. I should be. Tomorrow I will either go live early morning or late at night, but I look forward to seeing you and thank you so much and have a wonderful Thursday. Bye, y'all.